Welcome again to Highly Questionable. Dan Batard. This is Papi Batard. He's my father. And that familiar face right there, Miami's own Izzy Gutierrez. What do you like on the show today?
Not a lot to have fun with today, so thank you, Tubby Smith, for saying that thing we can all mock.
Dale, Papi.
Should another team pay what the Eagles are asking for Nick Foles?
Nick Foles is not on the market technically, Super Bowl MVP, but Philadelphia might be willing to listen to offers if, according to Chris Mortensen and ESPN, there's a first and a fourth involved, the Sam Bradford package. And if you are a team who would give a first and a fourth for this particular quarterback and not allow for the idea that he was that great because the Eagles were that great, you are the fools that are losers for a reason. You do not trade this amount for this person.
Just like the Minnesota Vikings at the time they acquired Sam Bradford from the Eagles were desperate, figured they were a quarterback away after the Teddy Bridgewater injury. There's always going to be a team that's going to justify that price, a first and a fourth. Maybe the Arizona Cardinals will do that. They've seemed pretty close. But if you're the Philadelphia Eagles here and you saw Carson Wentz's devastating knee injury and obviously what Nick Foles can do for you, I understand you don't want to lose him for nothing in free agency, but they've already done so much to build up depth and to be really good for a very long time. He might as well be the insurance policy that they hang on to. If they do trade him for, say, 2 second-round picks, which was the Alex Smith price in Kansas City, one of those should probably be used on a quarterback anyway because they're going to need insurance. So I'm not so sure if asking for the sky is just a leverage thing here. I think that's the only way they get rid of Nick Foles.
They'll be trading the wrong guy. Carson Wentz, how many Super Bowls has he won?
Oh, that's right. Wentz, you bum.
That's right.
How many Super Bowls have you won? That's the guy you got to trade.
That's right. That's the guy you got to get rid of, not Nick Foles. Is Tubby Smith right that transferring teaches kids to quit?
Oh, Izzy did not like these comments. Let's listen to Tubby Smith. Do you know where he is these days? Last I saw him, he was on a motorcycle. It flipped over. We've been playing that clip for 4 years. My guess is as I'm talking right now, they're probably playing it again because we love it so much. But we'll lead into the serious content after this motorcycle wreck. Let's look at this.
I've been in this business a long time. Never seen we had over 800 Division I players transfer last year. Over 800. Come on. Teach them how to quit. That's what we're doing.
Never mind that Tubby Smith is a guy who's quit how many of his jobs? 3, 4 of his jobs? I mean, it's definitely more than one. But the idea that we hold these kids' hands from year 1 to year 17. All of a sudden, you turn 18, you can make all your life decisions, and you better not make a poor one, because if you do, you're going to be labeled a quitter. Are you a quitter if you change majors? Are you a quitter if you change school for academic reasons? No. You're a quitter because you quit on a coach that maybe doesn't work for you. Most of these kids commit when they're 15, 16 years old sometimes, and they're supposed to know that they're going to be a perfect fit for that team, that coach, that program. It's ridiculous for him to say that. Guys quit on him just as much as he's quit on other programs.
I believe in the spirit of what Izzy is saying, but there is a tricky situation to navigate here. These are self-interest. This is a man who has made his money off of the injustice in the NCAA that gives him power but doesn't give the player any real power and then punishes the player when he decides to transfer. But I also understand that if you're running that company as the CEO of Minnesota Athletic Department Enterprises, you cannot have your players leaving whenever they want to because they're homesick at 18 and they just decided the coach was too tough on them. It puts Tubby Smith in a very difficult position, and the interest that he's protecting is not about fight and quitter. It's about his own interest.
I know this is difficult because he moves around a lot, but he's currently in Memphis, not Minnesota.
Okay, I thought it was Minnesota was 2 or 3 teams ago. My bad.
Minnesota and Memphis, what difference does it make? There's some place in the middle of the country.
It starts with an M. Is that near Maryland? The only M that matters is Miami.
That's right, Miami. Do you believe Steve Ross's comments about the anthem were misconstrued?
Okay, this is the situation. Stephen Ross, evidently the owner of the Dolphins, told the New York Daily News that players would stand for the anthem in his locker room. This goes far away from his previous position, which was he was very, very much pro-player. Now he's backtracking again, saying his comments are misconstrued, and this is the precarious position that all these owners are in. They feel like they are stuck picking between black and white, between between freedom and injustice, and they don't know how to make these decisions. So Stephen Ross wants to be on the right side of history with this, but he's got business partners who want everyone to stand. And he's stuck in the middle trying to play every side as he's trying to be an advocate for the one that is losing up to now.
Here's what's interesting here is he had to clarify his comments, even though in the original comments, they seemed pretty clear. It wasn't that he didn't want his players to kneel. He just thought the kneeling was no longer effective. He thought the message got misconstrued altogether politically, through the president, everywhere else, and therefore it's not an effective message anymore. Maybe find a different way to do this. So the clarification is, I'm not telling them they have to stand. I'm saying this doesn't really make sense even for that cause. And I would buy this coming from Stephen Ross, a man who has the RISE initiative for sports equality within his organization, the guy who's been talking about these things since Bullygate and Richie Incognito and everything else. So I understand the message he's trying to get across. I just don't know if that's something that has been communicated within the organization and with the players so that they're comfortable with him saying something like this.
I wish he'll tell the players to score more touchdowns, you know.
Yeah, see, that's fair. Why don't you do that?
They need a nice run next year, you know. Maybe they get together and they get lucky for a change.
Rise up and cross the goal line.
Yes, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
Does Kevin Love confession to panic attacks change the way you look at him?
I thought this was fascinating in the Players Tribune, in his own voice, a punching bag, a guy that a lot of people laugh at, is comfortable with his public vulnerability, and he's following the lead of DeMar DeRozan on this when he feels the need to share this with people. And I find fascinating that Kevin Love, and he has measured some of this and thought to himself, do I do this? Will I lose the trust and respect of my teammates? That Kevin Love, in his own way, for his own cause, is doing something at 29 that is not unlike what LeBron James is getting a lot of credit for in terms of messaging and social change. He is being an advocate at a week in time for being strong in public with your vulnerability. That's a pretty strong thing.
Just like DeMar DeRozan's confession, like you mentioned, Dan, this is very important. It's also a little bit different because it's so confusing if you haven't experienced it or know people who've experienced it. I had somebody right in front of me just a few days ago have a panic attack. I watched it from beginning to end. And while I talked this person down, it was still mind-boggling to watch. And so if you have somebody like Kevin Love come out here and say this, why would Kevin Love have anything to worry about? The X millions of dollars that he's made, the championship that he's won, the success that he's had on the court. It could be something so minor that sets a panic attack off. It could be absolutely nothing that sets it off. So when you have somebody like Kevin Love getting this conversation going, maybe you'll have more people understanding what it is and not judging people when they have situations like this.
Do you believe that Le'Veon Bell will retire if he's franchised again?
I don't know what his financial situation is at home. I do know that I find him fascinating and have for a while as a public holdout figure because he does not mind rubbing in the face of the customers on social media. No more millions. I deserve more millions. That's the kind of guy at that position who would retire if franchised again on a threat. I wouldn't believe it if I were the Steelers, but this is what that looks like if you are to believe it.
You normally say that this is just a bluff, that people don't do this. Even at the top of their positions, they don't actually retire in their prime. I would believe it not just because Le'Veon Bell seems like a different kind of dude, but I would believe it just because right now there's not a time to settle in football as a player because you're settling and you're almost guaranteeing yourself some sort of head trauma down the road, especially at this position where he's getting hit over and over and over again and used over and over and over again. And what he wants is a long-term contract. He wants security, not just another $1 million here or there, because with that security, it's the only way you're willing to put yourself in that position. Otherwise, retirement these days becomes a real possibility.
In that position, two ways. Literally the running back position. Beanie Wells is 29 years old. He's missed his radio show this week and says out loud, at 29, I'm having all sorts of brain problems. I've been diagnosed with brain injuries. Le'Veon Bell is asking to be paid because he knows what it is that he's risking.
You want more money? You should turn into a quarterback. You know, you compete against Big Ben. That's what you do. You know what I mean? That's you pick a guy of your own size and
that
you say,
would be fun to watch.
I want to make as much money as you make, and you show that you're worth all that money. That's all.
That's it. Le'Veon Bell, just become a quarterback.
That's
become
right.
one of the best in the game at your position. A historic great as a Hall of Famer, as a quarterback. That's all.
Done.
Nobody will be expecting it.
That's right. It would be a big surprise if you just converted to the quarterback position because I want to be paid like a quarterback. It would be unexpected.
Sneaky move.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
Let's see if grounders, throwing grounders to first base is going to work And you see that that's not great, but he doesn't have chemistry with this guy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, here we go.
No,
is this going to be
thank you.
horrifying? Is this going to be horrifying? He's going to throw up, right?
Get the
He's
bend
going
in
to
that
throw
bar.
up. Oh, my God.
Oh, no! Oh, no! Can you imagine if that was 940 pounds? If he put one more pound on that, his face would explode.
My son's TV show is brought to you by Dr. Scholl's Pain Relieving Orthotics.
Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick, Miss Lydia!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Time to play the game that can't wait to celebrate National Oreo Cookie Day. Woo! What do you question?
You give us topics and events, we question them.
Yes. Yeah, we'll wait. Take your time.
Those Hydrox?
Wow. Do you question John Lester's new throwing strategy?
All right, so John Lester has this hiccup in throwing to first base. So this is the way that John Lester threw to first base last year. Weird hiccup, mental tick, and that's how that plays out. And now this year, spring training, he's trying, let's not throw it that hard, that far. Let's just throw it straight to the ground. Let's see if grounders, throwing grounders to first base is going to work. And you see that that's not great, but he doesn't have chemistry with this guy on the bounce. He practiced that with Rizzo, not with this guy. And this guy at first base doesn't know what he's doing over there, so it might have been successful if Rizzo was playing over there, but they're practicing with this bum. He's not even going to be playing for him in 2 months.
He's trying to make it sound all cool by calling it the Jordan to Pippen bounce pass. It's not cool. It's a mental block. It's going to look ridiculous every time. In fact, I'm pretty sure maybe he's just got the wrong career. I think that's how you pitch the ball in cricket, but he's obviously not good at that either. So I'm not sure what Lester's doing.
He
here.
really did that? The Jordan Pippen bounce pass is what he thinks that looks like? That's the opposite on the athletic spectrum from whatever it was Jordan and Pippen were doing.
Unless he starts throwing no-look bounce passes. That would be entertaining.
All right.
Do you know who was real good at bounce passes at the end of his career?
Who's that?
Peyton Manning.
Oh, there we go. Hey, my father's delivery is so good on that. It's sing-song Peyton Manning.
I have to turn around and watch this. It's art
Won a
every
Super
time.
Bowl. He won a Super Bowl that way.
He's sticking in his chair a little more than usual.
Do you question if weightlifting keeps you healthy?
All right. This is a story that makes you crazy because weightlifting, of course, is good for you. Throwing a couple of reps, go ahead and sweat a little bit. But what if you're deadlifting 939 pounds? Because, 940 is a little too much, but 939 is the right amount. What if you're trying to do that?
Oh, man.
Yeah, here we go.
No,
is this going to be
thank you.
horrifying? Is this going to be horrifying? He's going to throw up, right?
Get the
He's
bend
going
in
to
that
throw
bar.
up. Oh, my God. Oh, no. Oh, no. Can you imagine if that was 940 pounds? If he put one more pound on that, his face would explode. He'd be the Predator. Oh, my God.
That's a maximum effort.
It's spraying out of his nose.
I have never wanted anything like that in my life.
I mean, that must be why that's called deadlifting, because my goodness, you will die.
Ho.
Highly questionable is broadcast from the Clevelander Hotel on beautiful South Beach, Miami. Time to play the game that has very flexible morals. See? Or no?
Tell us what's on television tonight. We'll tell you if we're intrigued.
On TV.